The Department of Homeland Security has delivered a gut punch to millions of American travelers, just as a partial government shutdown continues to tighten its grip on federal operations across the country. TSA PreCheck and Global Entry, two of the most popular and widely used trusted traveler programs in the United States, are being suspended effective Sunday, leaving frequent flyers and international travelers scrambling to figure out what comes next. These programs, which have become a cornerstone of modern air travel for business professionals, families, and frequent flyers alike, have essentially been pulled out from under the feet of the very people who invested time and money to secure them. The suspension is not a minor inconvenience. It is a full-scale disruption that will be felt at every major airport and border crossing across the nation. For the millions of Americans who rely on TSA PreCheck to breeze through airport security without removing shoes, laptops, or liquids, the suspension means returning to the standard security lines that can stretch for what feels like an eternity during peak travel periods. PreCheck members who have grown accustomed to dedicated, faster-moving lanes will now find themselves standing shoulder to shoulder with the general traveling public in lines that could add anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours to their airport experience. The dedicated PreCheck lanes that normally move with impressive efficiency will sit largely idle while overwhelmed TSA agents work to manage the increased volume of passengers now funneling through standard screening checkpoints. Aviation experts are warning that the ripple effect could trigger widespread flight delays as travelers miss boarding times due to unexpectedly long security lines. Global Entry members who use the program to skip lengthy customs and immigration lines when returning from international travel are facing an equally frustrating situation. The program, which allows pre-approved travelers to use automated kiosks at border crossings and international airports to bypass traditional customs lines, has been a game-changer for Americans who frequently travel abroad for business or leisure. With Global Entry now suspended, those returning from international destinations will find themselves waiting in the same long customs and immigration lines as everyone else, regardless of their trusted traveler status. Border crossings are expected to experience significant backup as the streamlined processing that Global Entry provided is no longer available, leaving customs agents to manually process a dramatically higher volume of returning travelers. Perhaps most frustrating for affected travelers is the uncertainty surrounding enrollment and renewal applications that are now caught in limbo as a direct result of the shutdown. Thousands of Americans who had scheduled appointments for PreCheck or Global Entry enrollment or renewal interviews at enrollment centers across the country are now facing cancellations with no clear rescheduling timeline in sight. Those whose memberships are expiring during the shutdown period are in a particularly difficult position as they cannot renew their status and may lose their trusted traveler benefits entirely until normal government operations resume. DHS has not provided a definitive timeline for when these programs will be restored, leaving applicants and current members alike in a frustrating state of uncertainty with travel plans already booked and paid for. The suspension of TSA PreCheck and Global Entry is yet another stark and unavoidable reminder of how deeply the operations of the federal government are embedded in the daily lives of ordinary Americans and how swiftly political failures in Washington translate into real-world consequences for hardworking citizens. While politicians continue their budget standoff behind closed doors, it is everyday travelers, business people trying to reach important meetings, families heading to long-planned vacations, and international travelers with connecting flights and tight schedules, who are bearing the true cost of Washington's inability to keep the government running. Authorities have urged affected travelers to arrive at airports significantly earlier than usual to account for anticipated delays and to monitor official DHS and TSA channels for updates on when services may resume. Until a budget agreement is reached and the shutdown ends, millions of Americans will be paying the price for a political failure that has nothing to do with them and everything to do with a government that has once again let its people down.